Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mayor Billy Knight. It's time for our River City Chat. You know, this is a time that I'm not really excited about talking to you, but I think it's necessary that we talk to you as the mayor and leader of our city. I just feel compelled sometimes that I need to say something to our people because I want us to all be together and on the same page about some things in this country that's going on. And I want you to know how I feel about this. I want to take an opportunity to use my platform that I have here to really try to always bring us together and get us to thinking about things in a real sensible way, and so that we can always be mindful of our neighbor. But you know, 24 years ago, at 8:46 a.m. in the morning, we had this tragedy of 9/11. Over 3,000 people lost their lives on 9/11 24 years ago. And we don't ever want to remember, we don't ever want to forget that time. We don't always remember what happened on that day. Whether you had loved ones there or not, and many of us did have friends. If they were not in New York at that time, they may have had friends that was in New York or know people that was in New York. And those that lost their lives, and all of the first responders that responded to that incident that day ought to be remembered. Because remember now, not only the people that worked in that facility lost their lives, but many of our first responders lost their lives. Over 3,000 people lost their lives on 9/11. So most point, let's don't ever forget those people that lost their lives for no reason whatsoever that we can make sense of. Let's always remember that. It was on this day, 9/11, at 8:46 in the morning that happened. So let's all remember those people in our thoughts and our prayers today as we go through the day and the rest of this year. Let's always remember them. The other one I want to talk about is the murder of Charlie Kirk. You know, that happened just yesterday. The senseless murder of a young man, 31 years old, because of his ideas that you did not have to agree with. No one life should be taken that way because of their ideas. He believed in a good debate. You don't have to agree with him, but debate it. He believed in trying to change people's minds and ideas about the way the world should work. All of us have some type of opinion about that. But our lives should not be taken because we don't agree with each other. But let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. How did we get here? You know, we got here because our politicians nationwide are not careful about the words that we use, how we demonize each other, how we seem to hate each other. When you do that time and time again, what do you expect to happen? It's based on our conversation, our words that we use, the laws that we pass. Now, people say guns don't kill people, people kill people. But yes, but guns are so easy to get to now. And people are saying now there was no security around. Well, no, they did not have checks, queues where people had to go to a metal detector, all that. But this young man was over 350 feet or more away from Mr. Kirk. He was not right there in the crowd. He had a long gun rifle or semi-automatic or something with a telescope on it, evidently, that was able to kill Mr. Kirk from over 350 feet away. So he was not in the crowd to be security checked. Why? Because he had that gun that allowed him to reach Mr. Kirk at that distance. So we pass these gun laws. We talk about people like they're not human. And when these things start happening, we say, wow, what happened? As if we had no responsibility in that. And now we got a situation where the film of the shooting where Mr. Kirk fell forward or sideways after being shot is all out there on Facebook, and everybody now is seeing it over and over again, which, let me tell you, is more dangerous and more risky than if you were there on scene at the time. And now it looked like with all this film going on now on Facebook, what we're doing now is desensitizing death. We're desensitizing death. Now it's okay to kill someone like that. And for God's sake, our kids are watching that. What if our children are looking at that over and over again? And then they grew up with this attitude that must be all right. Matter of fact, some of them say, man, that's cool. And we wonder what happened to our kids. What happened in this country? It goes back to our political leaders, ladies and gentlemen. You can say whatever you want. It goes back to our political leaders and the rhetoric that we have, the way we talk about each other, the way we demonize each other, the way we seem to despise each other. All these guns all over the place that everybody can get their hands on it. And all these folks that claim to be mentally ill when they have these guns, they're mentally ill for a moment, evidently, but they're smart enough and not sick enough that they can plan all these events. But all of a sudden we say they were mentally ill. Well, maybe they are to some extent, but they're smart enough to plan all these events they're going to have during that mental illness. And at the same time, we allow these same mentally ill people to have all these guns in their hand. And again, when these kind of things happen, we all wonder, wow, how did we let this happen? Well, slowly it happened. It's just like, you heard the thing when you put a frog in the middle of water and it comes to a slow boil and the frog eventually will cook to death because you don't feel the heat as it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. Well, that's what happened here now. All these things are happening a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. And now all of a sudden it's just out of control. It's even talking about now that every politician needs to have some type of security. Or anybody that's a political activist ought to have some type of security. Well, who's going to pay for all that? Are you kidding me? Look at this monster that we've unloosed here now. Guns, our rhetoric has created this monster that now nobody knows how to contain it. And you know what? We can't contain it. It's all in individuals' minds and hearts. It goes back to people. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave this with you. Until we start loving and caring about each other more than we care about our ideals and power and money, until we start going back to loving and caring about each other and care more about that than we know about all these material things that we think we get, the genie is out of the bottle. And once the genie out of the bottle, it's hard to get her back in. It is out of control. And most point, I'm asking you to let's stay in control. Let's don't act like they do on a national level, that we're shooting and killing and demonizing each other as if we are not human beings, as if we don't love each other. The genie is out of the bottle on the national level. And our politicians now who created this problem don't know how to control this problem. They don't know what to do. And they just pointing fingers at each other. Let's don't do that, Moss Point. Let's don't do that. Let's remember 9/11 and all the people that perished, 3,000 people on that day. And let's remember Charlie Kirk in our prayers. And let's stay together, Moss Point. We're all in this together. Have a good day.